Y'all talk about Tyler Maine's autograph like I ain't got none. What, you think I sold them all? Stupid. Welcome to another day. I don't care. I don't care. I'm leaving it in. It made me laugh. I don't care. I'm leaving it in. Welcome to Ham's Gonna Watch a Movie either for the first time or another time, depending upon the circumstances. This is the only show where Ham reviews movies. Well, I quit. Man. The most disappointing movie for me, probably ever. Who cares? It's X-Men. Who cares? X-Men 2000. Hugh Jackman's big break. The movie took 3 years to plan, broke records in the theater, then ruined my expectations for what is possible for an X-Men movie. One thing to know about Ham is Ham loves X-Men. Ham is sad without X-Men. This is not what I wanted. With that said, people seem to really enjoy it, or at least look fondly back upon it. The reviews may have been mixed for the sequels, the prequels, the spin-offs. Financially, just a big pile of success. So people may feel nostalgic for it. Will I? Probably not. No. Evolution. It's a comic book movie, so let's not get all carried away in the first 20 seconds. Basically, people are becoming special. Movie 2 opens in a very dark historical period. War camps. A boy is taken from his family and rips a metal gate to shreds. Very well done scene. This is supposed to revive a genre targeting kids. A little heavy, but let's not get all carried away in the first 3 minutes. Movie number 3 opens in a girl's bedroom. She shares a kiss with Bad Idea Guy. Your basic opening to a House MD episode. Bad Idea Guy don't look good. That is an after-school special if I've ever seen one. So we hit evolution, war atrocities, and teenage sex. Let's not get all carried. Movie 4 opens with Gene, speaking in a room full of politicians. Wheels Justice stops Eric in the hall. This is a fantastic setup to their conflict. Very clean and very real. Rogue finds a cage fight on accident. Metal Noggin is declared captain. Metal Noggin is declared why can't I say declared champion? Metal Noggin is declared champion as Wolverine. It isn't a bad scene, but the comic book introduction was a Hulk fight. Cage fighting? Hugh Jackman is super intimidating and does a great job here selling the mutant at the end of his rope. Rogue and Wolverine play who is more pathetic for a while until Wolverine wins when he flies through the windshield. It's his archenemy, Dogman. Seriously, Tyler Mane touched this card. The day is saved when Cyclops and not Catwoman arrive. So Rogue happens on Wolverine, Dogman happens onto both of them, then Cyclops and not Catwoman happen in. A hurried, sloppy introduction to your team leaders. This is going downhill with each scene. Wolverine escapes. I can't even explain Wolverine's motivations anymore. Now we jump into a backstory of Charles versus Magneto so hastily thrown together, you need to rewatch First Class for clarity. Oh, Bobby is tossed in. He makes ice things. It's a flower. Senator Buzzkill is knocked out by Blue Fish Woman. He is now a prisoner. Wolverine goes from angry to sympathetic to angry to scared to angry to intrigued, and now I don't need to tell you how he feels about Jean Grey. I mean, I'll even have to check. I don't even know what timestamp we're in. I don't know what timestamp it is for this movie. We can't be that far in, right? Right? Seriously, I'm gonna check this. I need to know. Guys, we're 20 minutes into this movie. We are 20 minutes in. They just have so many people going in different directions. They don't all have one story. So the two field X-Men are just not there. They showed up the one time to shoot Sabretooth way away. And Wolverine is a cage fighter who seems really upset and uncomfortable and can't control his emotions and doesn't know how to feel about life in general. Rogue's there now, fitting in nicely now that she knocked that poor boy out. And the senator got picked up because Magneto hates politicians, and Mystique is covered in scales. She's covered in scales. I guess my point is I don't know from the feel of the movie what the point is. Does that make sense? I think the only thing we can agree on is Magneto is taking a politician for a reason, and Wolverine is lost. And that's pretty much all we know. Magneto announces the Brotherhood of Mutants, as Senator Buzzkill realizes his day's about to get really bad. Magneto's time machine fails, and I guess we aren't really supposed to know what's happening yet. Wolverine is inching towards uncomfortable territory as he baits Jean into reading his mind. Wolverine later has nightmares about torture and wakes up to murder a child, as one does. Luckily, the child steals his powers, and luckily, Wolverine has healing ability. Still can't figure out what we're doing with this. Senator Buzzkill was transformed into a mutant. Sabretooth drops him into the ocean, and Magneto doesn't like that. He locks up poor Sabretooth in a cell. Bobby is in full jerk mode. He tells Rogue to leave, and Rogue gives in, because he made her a flower one time. Wolverine is the first to notice Rogue is gone. If only they had a mutant or two that can read minds or sense danger. Maybe they could have seen this thing happening, or felt a villain near. I mean, that would be a helpful power, right? Cyclops and Storm head to the garage, leaving Wolverine with Charles. But unbeknownst to everybody, Wolverine can teleport, gets ahead of them, steals a bike, and is the first one on the scene. Mystique uses her time as a highly entrusted X-Men to track down Cerebro. Either that, or we've finally found a worthwhile telepath in this building. Wolverine consoles Rogue, while the two best mutant team leaders in X-Men history struggle to deal with Toad and Sabretooth. And that brings us to halfway. It's so exciting that they take such a diverse comic with so many heroes of a team of 6, 7 at a time and use 2. Seriously, go back and watch the movie. It's Cyclops and Storm. Yes, they have Jean Grey, but she doesn't deploy. I guess it's a movie for adults who don't care, but you really have to not care. So for me who cares, I'm gonna stop rambling. This is going for a really long time. Sorry. Well, Magneto throws the metal guy around, takes the girl, and walks into another fantastic scene. Another Eric Charles standoff. Well, Rogue needs some saving, and it's time to have an all-out fight to the end. But not before Senator Buzzkill gets one more soul-sucking scene. A great Patrick Stewart scene later, and Wolverine changes his mind again, and he's now an X-Men. Seriously, the biggest plot of this movie is Wolverine confusion. It's time to have an all-out fight to the end, but not before Buzzkill melts. You feel nothing. His death is essentially pointless. Feels more like, finally. It's time to have an all-out fight to the end, but not before Professor X uses a booby-trapped Cerebro and goes down for the count. Jean Grey has to use Cerebro instead to find Magneto. It's time to have an all-out fight to the end. The Brotherhood attack a political lawn party. Alright, we need another breakout session. Magneto starts in on what you feel is probably some much-needed, powerful dialogue. But it's wasted on his total lack of compassion for mutants. He knows that he's about to murder Rogue to try to kill off these politicians, or turn them into mutants, or whatever. He should be agonizing over the fact that he needs to take a fellow mutant's life to further his cause. This Magneto is just, I don't know, inconsistent, I guess? Wow, a Wolverine yellow spandex joke gets thrown in for what feels like the first reference to an actual comic book. So your team's heading into the battle is Cyclops, Storm, Jean, and Wolverine. They are going up against Mystique, Sabretooth, Toad, and Magneto. A classic showdown for sure. Wolverine sets off the metal detectors, and it's a comical moment. Finally, a joke that actually lands. This team is immediately separated as Wolverine fights himself. Toad proves too much for the X-Men leader Storm and Omega-level mutant Jean Grey. Uh-oh. Turns out that bogus Wolverine is actually Mystique. The action is really broken up in a really lame way. Finally, we get the Storm we want, and she is wasted on Toad. You know what happens to... I'm not even going to say it. You know what happens to a Toad when it's... I'm not going to say it. Wolverine murders Mystique. Another Cyclops Wolverine one-liner, and we are off. Magneto immediately locks up the team to ensure the lack of action comes to a dead stop. Wolverine gets free and gets tossed off the Statue of Liberty by Sabretooth. After another weak fight, Cyclops and Jean Grey are able to blast Sabretooth out. They go on a our powers combined plan to get Wolverine closer to Magneto. He spoils the party and saves Rogue, but it's too late, and then it isn't. The score is nice. It really sets a disappointed tone nicely. Everyone made it back to the mansion. Wolverine is set out to find his past. Mystique plays the dead Buzzkill to end the Registration Act. Charles plays chess with Eric in a final scene. It's another fantastic scene. The end. Mystique would later go on to lead the X-Men. I was so excited to hear an X-Men movie was coming. Then Nightcrawler wasn't in it. Then Iceman. then Beast, then Angel, and Colossus. They either weren't in the movie or weren't X-Men yet. Either way, you just look at the fact that there's no one to see that you really need to support your team leaders. I figured, hey, it's still an X-Men movie. I did enjoy some of the movie because I finally got to see my characters in action. But that was 22 years ago. Patrick and Ian were amazing. Every bit of dialogue between the two of them was great. They really set the tone for what could be a great franchise. Unfortunately, nothing in this movie is particularly memorable. I think if you really go back and think about moments from 1, 2, and 3, I think you only talk about 2. Wolverine really just got beat up 3 times. He still struggles in the only mutant battle that he actually won. And he won thanks to a villain misstep. Storm and Cyclops are weak and nowhere near ready to run the X-Men. Rogue wasn't even the same character from the comics. Mystique looks like a weird fish woman covered in scales. It's weird. As an X-Men fan, I am thoroughly disappointed in how terribly this holds up. X-Men are known for teamwork, organization, and leadership. This showed none of that. Magneto was 100% dedicated to the lives of mutants, unless they were ones he wanted to murder. It just didn't fit the character that it seemed like they wanted to set up from that first scene. I don't want to watch it again. I'll give it a D+. Now, there's people out there that I actually do talk about some of these videos and have seen kind of some of the things that I've done with this in the past. Now, a lot of people want to argue with me that I'm being too hard on this movie because of how well it's rated. Seriously, just watch it. Just watch it. Just watch it and try to describe in words what happens. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Seriously, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the people jumping in and really taking a look at these. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all the feedback. It's been really great. I really do hope people enjoy the movie. Now, I've said everything that I can, and people can absolutely say that I've been too critical, because I'm 100% sure that I have been. The reviews are all generally pretty positive that I'm gonna do, but there's a couple of movies that I just cannot forgive for what they've personally done to me. This is all just my opinion, but if you haven't seen this movie in the last 20 years, I don't want to argue with you. Watch it again before you call me crazy. Watch it again. Thank you all for watching. I'm Ham. Enjoy the movie, and have a great day.